Hello, you are listening to the Seattle Files. My name is Chris Allen, I'm your host. On each episode of the Seattle Files, I get together with a different local comedian, and together we discuss the strange, unusual, interesting, and oftentimes lesser-known aspects of our local history. Joining me today on the program is Daniel Stoltenberg. How's it going, Daniel?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Daniel is an actor and a theater educator around town. He just wrapped up room service at the Taproot Theater. He is currently working on a musical called Avalon. You want to tell us a little bit about Avalon?
Sure. It's an Arthurian legend. It's sort of the origin story of the Lady of the Lake, and I'm working on that with Tyler Kimmel as our composer, and Melanie Hampton is our playwright, and it's about halfway done, so we're hoping to have a public reading of it at the end of the year.
Cool. Awesome. And then take off, go on off-Broadway, then Broadway, and on to...
Of course.
Yeah.
The way that all musicals go.
Right, yes. Every musical is inherently successful, right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, awesome. And also a board game designer.
Yes.
How does one design a board game?
Well, you play a lot of board games, and then you think about the ways that you would like to make those board games that you play better.
Okay.
And then you do that, and then you're like, you know what? F this, I'm going to make my own board game, and then you start from there.
So you start off by being derivative and then say, screw this.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you have any board games in the works right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a cooperative board game about a group of agents trying to pull off a heist and steal stuff out of a building and escape via helicopter in 6 minutes or less.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like a cooperative board game.
Yeah, very cool. I remember playtesting one that you designed a while back and playing kind of like an asshole and kind of irritating people. So,
and it was very valuable feedback. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, that was super fun. So, how long have you lived in the Seattle area?
I moved here, my family moved here when I was 4, moved up to Shoreline, and I've lived
From
here...
where?
From California.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I've lived here ever since. I went to school in Walla Walla, Washington, and I've returned
Whitman,
here...
right?
Whitman,
Yep.
And returned here after that.
Cool. How much do you know about local history?
Not a ton. I did a poster about Pike Place Market in 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
So I can't tell you anything about the Pike Place Market either.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that's
cool.
it. Literally all I know.
You've forgotten things about the Pike Place Market, and that
sure
is
have.
Cool. Awesome. And you have no idea what we're going to be talking about today, correct?
I do not.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. Benjamin Fodor was born May 25th, 1988 in Texas. As a young man, he developed a love of martial arts and comic books.
I like him already.
You like him already? Awesome. A big martial arts and comic books guy?
Well, no, but I think that those are my people.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
I don't know about martial arts people, but I like to think that they would be my people.
Yeah, if you got to know them, right?
Yeah,
They
would defend me.
In December 2006, at age 18, Ben Fodor started his amateur MMA career, mixed martial arts career.
Yep.
So he's professional, well, not professional, but he's an amateur MMA fighter.
All right.
And over 4 years, Fodor recorded 15 wins and 2 losses.
Well.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Go Ben.
Yeah, seriously. In 2010, a 22-year-old Fodor experienced a troubling incident involving his son.
Okay.
So when Fodor was walking back to his car from a water park, he let his son run ahead.
How old was his son at this
His son, I'm not sure how old. He would have been very young.
Okay.
Very. He would have been, I'm not sure, maybe a little bit bigger than a toddler. I don't know exactly how old his son was.
Walking age.
Walking age, but maybe not good at walking age.
Okay, great.
So probably 5 or under
Sure.
would be my guess.
Okay.
When he let his son run ahead to the car when they were walking back to the car. His son reached the car and fell over, and Fodor realized his car had been broken into and there were shards of glass everywhere.
Okay.
Someone had wrapped a rock with a ski mask and used it to break the window. His son had fallen in the glass, badly cutting himself. The son gets hurt. Not a good situation.
Yep.
Fodor did not have a phone on him, so he called to a man across the street who witnessed the incident. And Fodor was extremely annoyed that many people witnessed the break-in and his son's injury, yet none did anything to help.
That is what we do in Seattle.
It really
We
is.
stand by and we watch and we have bad feelings about
Yeah, exactly. We don't do anything, but we feel guilty about not doing anything.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Soon after the water park incident with his son, Fodor was out with his friends at a bar, and upon leaving, one of them was seriously assaulted. Gets attacked.
Okay.
Like you do.
Not his week.
Not his week. No, I don't know how close this was, but yeah, it's a string of bad
I like
events.
to think that it was the next day.
Oh boy. After witnessing the event, Fodor ran to his car and grabbed his phone from his glove box. As Fodor opened the glove box, the mask fell out that the person had used to break his car.
Oh, why would they leave that?
Well, they wrapped the rock in the ski mask,
And then they put it inside of the glove box?
Well, they used it. He put it in the glove box.
Oh,
so they would have broken
okay.
it. The rock would have been probably like on the seat or on the floor.
Okay, great.
And he put it in the glove box. They wouldn't have left it like as a calling card.
Well, I was wondering,
Yeah.
how deep was this going to go?
So as he opened the glove box, the mask fell out. So after calling 911, Fodor put on the mask and chased after the man who assaulted his friend. Fodor reached the man and subdued him until the police arrived.
The cycle of violence continues.
Yeah. He realized that night that this was his calling. Sick of indifference from people to the suffering of others, he decided to do something about it, and he adopted the alter ego Phoenix Jones.
All right, Phoenix Jones. I've heard about Phoenix Jones. Vigilante about town.
Yeah, masked vigilante.
All right.
So he decides, I am going to do something about this. I am now Phoenix Jones, crime fighter.
Do we know how he came up with the words Phoenix Jones?
I was not able to find that.
Just sounds cool.
My best guess would be Phoenix like rising, the rising Phoenix, and Jones like everyman. So like the rising everyman. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, didn't come across this, the actual like etymology of his name, but that would be my guess.
Standing up for the common man like a mythological bird.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Exactly. Mm-hmm. When talking to Como 4 about the incident, Phoenix Jones said, quote, "And I thought, why didn't someone help him? There were 70 people outside the bar and no one did anything."
So he's not going to stand by in the future, like all of these people who watched all these terrible things happen
Right.
before. Okay.
The interview continued, and the interviewer asked Jones, "Are you crazy?" And Jones replied, quote, "Have you ever seen something you thought was wrong or not fair, that you wanted to change, and then you just thought about it for days or weeks? Well, I haven't. I don't stand by and watch things happen that are wrong. When I see it, I fix it. Does that make me crazy?"
Ooh, and I bet the interviewer was like, "You're right.
Yeah.
I get on the scene right away.
It's
at these very moments."
Yeah, it's hard when somebody says something that contradicts your daily actions, but is also clearly 100% accurate. Like, oh no!
All right, so operating outside of the law.
Outside-ish.
Outside-ish. Law adjacent.
I think it's not illegal, it's extra legal. So
Okay.
he's not necessarily breaking laws, but he's not a police officer. He doesn't, kill people.
No.
He detains them.
Is he like Batman in that he turns them over
Yes.
to the police?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
great.
he'll detain people, he'll help people, he'll notify the police. That's kind of his MO.
I wonder what his inspirations were. Which comic books brought him to this point?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
I'm not
think
sure what he
Batman
was
is
reading.
definitely in there. Maybe a little Spider-Man. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Jones went on to create a full costume. His costume consists of a dragon skin brand bulletproof vest and stab plate, as well as equipment including a stun baton, pepper spray, tear gas, handcuffs, and a first aid kit.
Yes, all vital tools.
Things that you need.
For a vigilante about town.
Yeah, vigilante about town. Going out of the Saturday night doing some vigilante justice.
As you do.
On Sunday, January 2nd, 2011, in Linwood, Phoenix Jones stopped and chased away a car thief as the car owner, who asked to be identified only as Dan, stood by in shock as Jones ran into action. CBS News introduced Dan and Phoenix Jones to one another the following Monday evening, and Dan proceeded to thank Jones numerous times.
There you go.
Which at this point it would be surprising to see Phoenix Jones swoop in a bad moment, but at the time when nobody had ever heard of this guy that's running around in a mask.
Yes. Now, did he have the mask on him? Like, does he just go about? Or does he have like a police radio scanner? How does he find these people?
My guess is that he has a police radio scanner, but he walks around in high crime areas.
Okay.
So I know he's
on patrol.
Yeah, he's been in the U District many times. He spends time in Belltown on that awful corridor of douchey bars. where there's just nothing but fights breaking out all of the time.
Yeah.
I have a friend that
I know the one.
Yeah, I have a friend that just moved into an apartment there, and he said he just watches fights every night. Just bars spilling out with fights.
You don't need a TV.
No, you don't. Oh, it sounds just... He hates it. It sounds awful. Yeah. It sounds awful. If you're going across town, do it on 5th.
All right.
Do it on 5th. That's my advice to you, listener.
You can put that in the bank.
January 7th, 2011, Phoenix Jones prevented an intoxicated man from entering his car. Jones threatened to use a stun baton as the angry and inebriated man approached Jones with the intent to fight. In a video, a police officer is shown later talking to Phoenix Jones and his group regarding the effect masks may have on an intoxicated individual.
That's true.
Because if somebody with a mask comes up at you and you're loaded...
It's difficult to assume goodwill.
Yeah. Well, but it's very confusing. Very confusing indeed. But one of the big things he says is that, obviously, superhero costumes are cool, but it helps differentiate him from criminals at the scene. So if he intervenes in some, if there's a big fight breaking out or people are breaking into a car and they call 911, they're going to know, oh, that's Phoenix Jones, not somebody involved in this incident.
So what does this mask look like?
Oh, it's yellow and black.
Okay.
His whole outfit is yellow and black.
Okay, sort of like a Green Hornet, but yellow.
Yeah,
a yellow Hornet,
something like that. Yeah. Let's look it up real quick.
So he's got a consistent color scheme.
He does have a consistent color scheme, yeah.
That he is operating with. So it's very clear. Oh, yes, that is eminently clear. That
yeah.
And it's sort of like a Batman-esque, like, chest plate.
Yeah, he's got the chest plate with the abs carved into it. No nipples, which is I think it's a good decision.
Very controversial. That nipple plate.
Yeah. So it's kind of a yellowish gold as well as black.
Looks very much like a comic book superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily identifiable. No longer the ski mask of
the
first season of Daredevil that we have grown accustomed to as the standard vigilante fare. This is fully produced.
Yeah, and he's got a full-on stab plate, bulletproof vest. He is
practical.
He's ready to go.
Okay.
Ready to go. First aid kit, all the things you need.
Great.
In July 2011, Jones established the Rain City Superhero Movement, an organization composed of costumed activists who describe themselves as a crime-fighting brigade.
Okay.
So now he's got his Justice League.
I always
his
thought
Avengers.
that he was a lone wolf.
He was for a while, but now he inspired other people to go out.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Exactly. There was an interview I found with the Mantis, which was one of his sidekicks, who was a guy who knew him since they were kids. And then started reading about Phoenix Jones and eventually realized and connected the dots. And he was like, I'm joining you. I'm going out with you.
I know your identity. Let me in. And, I mean, with the large cosplay community in Seattle with Comic-Con and all of this, I bet that they can find people to fabricate these luxurious, if that's not going too far, costumes for them. At the drop of a hat.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Costume designers are interested. The costume designers that I know are always interested in, why do you need that? Yeah, no, I'll make that for you. That's how I ended up with a 7-foot-tall Bob the Money Tree Caterpillar costume. No joke. Thanks, Nicole.
That's what the world needs, is more Bob the Caterpillar from the Money Tree.
Well, it's a long... Me and a friend wrote a one-act play about it. We put it on. It was a whole thing. It was great.
Because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Exactly. So the citizens and police have differing views on the Rain City superhero movement.
I'm sure.
Witnesses have said the brigade has intervened in a number of crimes being committed, as police have stated they prefer if the organization members who are not sworn-in officers not place themselves in danger.
Of course.
Right. As you would expect those perspectives to be.
Yeah.
In July 2011, police recorded 10 citizens patrolling the city streets of Seattle in superhero costumes. The personas patrolling were Thorn, Buster Doe, Green Reaper, the Mantis, Prodigy, Gemini, No Name, Catastrophe.
No Name.
No Name. Yeah.
Come on,
No Name.
Step up your game.
Seriously.
Ugh.
Like a placeholder that he would put in.
Untitled.
Catastrophe, Thunder 88, Penelope, and of course Phoenix Jones.
Penelope,
yeah.
Bless.
Yeah. Penelope and No Name aren't exactly striking fear.
I am all about Penelope. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool.
No Name shows a lack of effort.
Other members of the organization were Red Dragon, Midnight Jack, Karma, Skyman, and El Caballero.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's fun. September 24th, 2011, in Belltown, Phoenix Jones doused a man with pepper spray after he attempted to steal a bus.
Okay.
The driver of the bus had been handing out flyers when another individual attempted to steal the bus. And this story leaves me with more questions than answers.
Yeah. I want to know what the flyers are about.
Yeah.
I want to know why you would try to steal. Anyway.
Yeah, so we left his bus unattended, and then the guy, I'm assuming the guy was intoxicated or mentally ill or something, but it was like, oh, sweet, a bus I can steal. The worst getaway vehicle imaginable.
It has a specific route that I have to follow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to make $2.25 a person on this. Jones is reported to have intervened, and the hijacker escaped with his skin dyed orange due to the spray. Jones said he didn't receive any help from the Seattle police, who took hours to respond to the incident.
So things are tense between Phoenix Jones and the police, it sounds like. They might not have the most amicable relationship.
Right, because he's stating his intentions as I'm trying to help, but he might be kind of muddying the works a little bit.
Like many vigilantes in comic books, he doesn't think the police are good enough.
Right, yeah.
Or quick enough.
Right, yeah. So he's stepping in to try to fill the void, but they're concerned because he's not abiding by the code that they are allegedly sworn to. So it's a sticky situation.
Yeah.
October 9th, 2011, in Seattle, Jones was arrested for his role in an altercation involving pepper spray. Close associates who were present and equipped with a video camera told reporters that Phoenix Jones broke up an unfair fight between two groups of nightclub patrons when they were leaving the nightclub.
Okay.
According to police reports, the officers who responded determined that there was no fight. With one member of the group denying that anyone among them had been fighting, they asked that the man be, quote, arrested for attacking them, that Phoenix Jones be arrested for attacking them. So he says that there's a fight. He's trying to break it up. Other people say that there was no fight. So the incident, they said that they were just, kind of having a good time, probably had some drinks in them, were being kind of raucous on the street.
Yeah.
He sees it as a fight. He runs in and intervenes.
It gets murky.
According to one woman who was involved in the altercation, after an argument had broken out between her group and another, Jones suddenly approached and pepper sprayed them, yelling, quote, "I am a superhero."
That's your battle cry?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good to identify yourself. The police have to identify themselves, and
superheroes
you might as well. I mean, if the costume wasn't enough,
you would think the costume would be enough. But they're raucous, they're kind of arguing, but they're not fighting, and so he runs in, allegedly, this is their side of the story, he runs in and yells, "I'm a superhero!" I'm
surprised that didn't escalate the fight.
Well, again, this might be the problem that some people have, is that, if you have a superhero, it will create, if you go seeking trouble, you'll find it.
Yeah, okay.
The next day, videographer Ryan McNamee,
okay,
uploaded a video online showing Jones responding to what McNamee described as, quote, a huge fight. McNamee's video shows the woman hitting Phoenix Jones and another person with her shoe.
But she's going to do no damage because he has an excellently fabricated protective suit.
He does, yes. No shoe can
pierce.
No shoe can stop. That's another one of the superheroes, is the shoe salesman.
Or just the shoe.
The shoe, that's much better, yeah. Scrapes the gum off the heel of this city. Jones appeared in court wearing a black and gray striped shirt over his costume on October 13th, 2011.
Dressing up for court.
Yeah, but he's still got the costume on, but he wants to be respectful
of
the court.
Yeah.
A court officer asked Jones to remove his mask. After he complied, and he complied.
Okay.
He took off his mask.
Okay.
Putting the mask back on after the hearing.
Okay.
Jones then spoke with reporters and removed his mask again to reveal his identity as Ben Fodor.
Okay.
Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes called Jones a, quote, deeply misguided individual.
So nobody knew that Phoenix Jones was Ben.
No.
At this point.
No.
It was just Phoenix Jones.
It was just Phoenix Jones.
And his brigade.
Right. Some people might have known, but...
Like the Mantis.
The Mantis, yeah. Well, the Mantis... This is when the Mantis learned who it was.
So Phoenix Jones was still a lone wolf, or he had some people, but not the Mantis.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So
we know that this might work out okay for the Mantis, at least.
Yeah, well, the Mantis is still alive today, so... He didn't get his head bitten off after mating, so he's doing all right.
Yeah, I hope he did his research.
The Mantis?
As he was picking that.
Well, he describes the whole thing as just
Or
being...
she.
He.
Okay.
Mantis was a he.
I mean...
Oh, okay, I don't...
It would be a good... Maybe a better
the
name for a female
Mantis?
superhero.
Yeah, that's true.
We know they live longer.
That's true. I don't know if if we need to be I'll edit this out.
Fix it in post.
Trying to figure out what, like, we don't have to be what's the name for people that study insects?
Entomologists?
Entomologically accurate. That's yeah.
Just splice that in, it'll be golden.
Yeah, just cut it back in. Fix it in post. Yeah, we don't have to be I'm cutting this whole thing out. Jones said after his court appearance, quote, "I will continue to patrol with my team, probably tonight. In addition to being Phoenix Jones, I am also Ben Fodor, father and brother. I am just like everybody else. The only difference is that I try to stop crime in my neighborhood and everywhere else. I think I have to look toward the future and see what I can do to help this city." No charges were filed against him.
Okay.
For this incident.
Okay.
November 27th, 2011, near the Belltown neighborhood of Seattle, Phoenix Jones and others in the Rain City superhero movement followed a man accused of stabbing another man. They prevented the attacker from fleeing until the Seattle police arrived.
Okay.
They chased him down. The guy got into a cab. They stopped the cab from going anywhere. And then the police showed up.
If I was that cab driver and a masked, costumed superhero brigade stepped in front of my cab, I would also stop.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? If you have the costumed people standing in front of you, you don't want to run down superheroes.
No. No, you do not.
May 1st, 2012, a blogger reported that Phoenix Jones, accompanied by El Caballero and Midnight Jack, had pepper sprayed Black Bloc protesters. Protesters to wear all black clothing, which are used to conceal the marchers' identity and hinder criminal prosecution. So they wear the black masks, they wear everything. And this is on May 1st. This is during the May Day parades.
Okay.
In downtown Seattle. So he pepper sprays them.
Why would he pepper spray protesters if they're operating within the law?
Well, in an interview he denied this. He said that he didn't do it on Twitter, on his Twitter account, which he is very active on.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. He's allegedly on Twitter. We don't know.
No, he is. I'm sure he is on Twitter. He alleges that he did not do this.
They're alleging he did. He's alleging he did not. In an interview on the Bob Rivers Show on May 2nd, the day after, Phoenix Jones asserted that while undercover with the protesters, several of them revealed to him a plot to bomb the city courthouse.
All right.
According to Phoenix Jones, after telling the police and receiving no support, he and another member of the Rain City superhero movement intercepted the protesters at the courthouse and acted in self-defense as the protesters began throwing rocks and bottles through the windows and glass doors of the courthouse.
Oof.
Yeah, oof is right. I like to think, though, that when he was undercover, he was still wearing his superhero costume.
But with his formal wear over?
Yeah, exactly. So he's saying that, which does sound kind of suspicious, that he was able to infiltrate a group of domestic terrorists who were claiming to bomb the courthouse. When would he have done that? How would this have worked? He said he was going
apparently
undercover.
It's pretty easy to get in. You just wear all black.
You just wear... Oh, yeah, that's true. They wouldn't have known
He knows
who
the costume.
he was.
This guy knows his costume.
He does know his costume. He's got great theatricality. I'll tell him that.
Yes, he does.
May 31st, 2011, Jones claimed to Seattle Weekly he was stabbed with a knife while trying to intervene with the drug dealer and a citizen.
What about your stab plate, dude?
Well, it hit the stab plate. So
Yeah.
he was okay.
Oh, okay.
He was stabbed, so
Okay,
no,
so I guess...
he's fine,
yeah, if a tree falls in the forest, yeah.
and it hits a stab plate, it's fine.
Yeah, it's still a tree.
The stabbing damaged part of his costume. He also claimed to have been shot once during an incident in Tacoma, but his ballistic vest stopped the bullet.
Whew.
Yeah, Seattle Weekly did report this, but also claims there is no proof of these incidents.
Phoenix Jones could have published pictures of his injured costume on Twitter.
That's
and
true.
Provided evidence.
That's true.
Phoenix Jones could also wear a body camera and be held accountable by the public.
There is he does actually carry a camera around with him and have a certain amount of... You can't see this right now, listeners, but Daniel is smiling and nodding smugly at that information.
This is good to hear. This is good to hear.
No, he does. You can go on YouTube and you can check out a lot of his exploits.
Yeah, because guess what? That kind of stuff clears things like this up.
It does.
You don't have to allege that you were stabbed if your body camera shows that you're being stabbed.
It doesn't become a he said, she said situation. It's a look at the footage situation.
This also allows him to be a role model for police who may not want to wear a body camera.
So you are firmly on Phoenix Jones' side.
Well, I wouldn't say firmly, but I'm glad that he's wearing a body camera.
Yeah. So you can... I don't know if everything... Because he also controls what he does and does not publish, though. He doesn't allow people and journalists unfettered access to his body cam.
And therein lies a problem.
Yeah. Sticky situation.
Yep.
April 22nd, 2012. Nicole Westbrook, 21 years old, who had moved from New Mexico to Seattle, was out in Pioneer Square with her boyfriend, celebrating his first paycheck at a new job when she was shot and killed.
Oof.
It is believed that she was not the target of the shooting and was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Pioneer Square.
Pioneer Square. Yeah, don't go to Pioneer Square.
Anytime.
No.
It is always the wrong time.
It smells like pee. Because of the pee. Jones was there near the scene when it happened. He later said, quote, "There are so many reasons this is terrible. Losing someone when they are 21 is just ridiculous. This was my first true-to-life failure with real consequences. It wasn't just me getting hurt." Westbrook was not believed to be the intended target of the shooting. She was in a crowd, and the shot came from a car. Jones saw a man with a gun walking and assumed he was the shooter and began chase.
Okay.
He said, quote, "I saw the guy running with a gun and I assumed he shot Nicole. After my own investigation, I realized the shots had come from the car and they were shooting at the guy with the gun on the street. And she happened to get hit in the process."
Okay.
Jones was stopped by a police officer in the area and was told to halt. He complied and let the man continue running away. No one was ever detained in relation to the shooting. To this day, the crime remains unsolved. Jones has expressed frustration that the shooter was not brought to justice. Jones continued to say that he would love to blame the Seattle Police Department, but he also blames himself. Jones said when he saw the guy with the gun, he was terrified and probably was not running at full speed. When the officer halted him, he felt relief.
So there are limits, and it's important for any superhero to come up against their limits in any comic book or in real life.
Yeah, so he was not able to help this woman. He never quite fully got over that.
Yeah.
November of 2013, Fodor made his professional MMA debut.
Oh.
So he's still doing the mixed martial arts stuff.
Yeah, okay. Gotta keep in shape.
Gotta keep in shape, yeah.
For your crime fighting.
Gotta do that training.
Vigilantism.
Fodor participated in the Cage Warrior combat based in Washington State.
Did he participate as Phoenix Jones?
He did not. He participated as himself this time. He is the younger foster brother of former UFC veteran Carlos Fodor. So it's a family of MMA fighters.
It's in his genes.
Yeah. May 29th, 2014, Phoenix Jones officially declared the Rain City superhero movement was over. So they disband.
Do we know why?
I do not know why.
Maybe the mantis got too big for his britches?
I think there was some inner turmoil amongst the groups. There were some disagreements. I don't have that backed up anywhere, but I've heard rumblings. I've got my finger on the pulse of modern-day Seattle.
Penelope's a talker.
Oh, Penelope. Well, No Name wanted a name.
You should have thought about that when you started, dude.
Yeah. March 11th, 2015. Fodor signed a contract with the World Series of Fighting. Fodor made his debut April 10th, 2015 at World Series of Fighting 20 under the pseudonym Phoenix Jones.
Okay. So is this like filling the hole left in his life by the dismemberment? I don't know.
Entomology.
Is this filling a need that had been left unfilled?
Well, I think this is a lifelong dream of his.
Okay.
Because I think that he's always wanted to do this. He had a very successful amateur MMA career.
Yeah.
But now he's kind of in the position where he can do professional MMA, so he's doing it.
All right.
Yeah. He faced Emmanuel Wallo and lost the fight via unanimous decision. His first loss in his professional career. September 18th, 2015, he rebounded with a win after a tap-out due to a rare head-scissor submission win over Roberto Young at World Series of Fighting 23.
If I was more involved in MMA, then I would know how rare that was.
Super rare, I'm guessing. A head-scissor submission?
It sounds cool.
That's like Halley's Comet, man. So
it comes around reliably, but only every once in a while.
It's uncommon, but consistent.
Great.
Yeah. Throughout his crime-fighting career, Jones has kept an online journal. November of 2015, Phoenix Jones's journal was given to a comic book producer who turned the tragic story of Nicole Westbrook's shooting into an actual comic book centered around Phoenix Jones. Mm-hmm. The comic book was released and stirred criticism.
By?
Unsurprisingly. Well, one note was the cop illustrated in the comic book is made to look out of shape. But Jones maintains that that's the reality. The cop truly was out of shape. However, that the cop didn't stop his pursuit because he was winded, Jones explained. Rather, he stopped because there was no backup, and that is procedure.
Yeah.
But the biggest critique of the comic is that it is extremely graphic and shows a gruesome depiction of Westbrook's death. In the comic, Westbrook lays in a pool of her own blood. She is crying, holding the wound in her neck. People close to the victim were shocked and uneasy about it. Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, there's a very... That's very difficult. That's a fine line when you're making art that's based on life, especially about people that are still alive.
Right.
Like her family.
Yeah.
You gotta do your legwork.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that it was inaccurate. It's just that it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's really uncool to make this graphic depiction as kind of a I don't know if self-aggrandizement is the right word, but for this self-promotion or
You want to make your art as good as it can be, and there's a lot of tropes inside of that medium that you want to abide by, but I think you have to be a little more careful. When you're dealing with something that is current.
Right.
Recent.
No one's saying that you can't do it. People are saying you shouldn't do it.
Yes.
Free speech. Free speech. Jones does admit that he didn't consider many of the questions and criticism that have come up since the comics book's release. He said, quote, "I guess I'm just telling my story, and this happens to be part of it. This comic reveals a lot of things people don't know, and a lot of stories people don't know, and it started with this."
Now, did he have a hand in the production of this comic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all based on his journal, and he kind of he's an active participant in the creation of the comic book.
He's executive producer.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
The comic was featured at the Jet City Comic-Con in Tacoma, and many were shocked to learn the book was based on a true story. Jones said, quote, "They didn't like it and thought it was too real. If you want to read a fake comic book, get a Batman comic book. If you want to read about my life and help someone and maybe get the case back out in the news and maybe get somebody to know what happened, read my comic book."
I see his agenda now.
What's his agenda then?
Well, his agenda is that he wants to continue to advance the cause of vigilantism and allow people to take matters into their own hands and to encourage them to do so if they see something going wrong.
If you see something, do something.
Yeah. However, this comic book shows his failure.
Yeah. More comic books have since been made. Jones's comic books are rather real. They are taken from his own life as a vigilante superhero in the streets of Seattle, and they have QR codes within the pages where readers can scan them with their cell phones, and it will bring up videos from crime scenes, photos, and actual police reports.
Okay.
Which is a very fascinating kind of combination.
It is.
Multimedia combination.
It's very much something that I bet the medium is interested in right now. Kind of engagement on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
And it's also probably entering a lot of gray areas in terms of
moral gray
morality.
areas. Yeah. Yeah. He said that the comics aren't always flattering of his work. He makes mistakes, and he isn't always super. March 22nd, 2016, in Seattle, Washington, Jones attempted to assist authorities in talking Cody Lee Miller, better known as the Man in Tree.
Ah, yes, the infamous Man in Tree.
You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was big news for a couple of days.
It sure was.
National news. The Man in Tree down from an 80-foot sequoia on 4th and Stewart. Cody Lee Miller had climbed the tree and was staying up there, refusing to come down. Jones offered his assistance, but police rejected the offer. Mm-hmm. So Jones had known this man before, and walking around on the streets, he'd interact with him. He's on the beat, yeah. In a video Jones posted to Twitter around 11:22 p.m. that night, after being rejected by the police 9 hours into the man being stuck in the tree, he said, quote, "I'm down here with the man in the tree. I brought him some Newports and a beer. We know him, we've dealt with him for years, and this is how he acts, this is what he needs. We could probably get him out, but the cops won't take my sandwich or my stuff or let me get close to the scene. So I hope they can do it themselves, because apparently the SPD doesn't want help from someone who knows the freaking guy. It's ridiculous."
See, inside of all of this, I feel like there's a community policing argument to be made, where it's conceivable that this idea that if the cops knew this guy and knew his needs, then they would meet those needs and be able to better interact with him. And it seems like Jones's critique of the police is that they don't.
Yeah, that they're not addressing this on an individual basis. But that, I'm not sure how to feel about that, because then if somebody, wants a six-pack and some Newports, can they do something like this, or is that going to encourage? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it will. I think that, ask if like a family member or somebody who knew him from the street was there, they would have probably said, yeah, talk to the guy. But because it's Phoenix Jones and it's a guy in a costume, so it's really...
And they have a very fraught history of antagonistic interactions.
I was there that evening.
Full disclosure.
I was at the scene of the Man in Tree, and I saw Jones. I chatted with him very briefly.
How was he in person?
He seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like he was frustrated that that they weren't letting him help. They set up a perimeter around the area, and at every access point, he went around and talked to the police at every different access point. Huge crowd had amassed to see the Man in Tree. Jones was accompanied by another man in a mask. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been the Mantis.
I hope it was the Mantis.
And two young women. They circled the perimeter, offering assistance to the police. And then a man in the crowd that had gathered, began antagonizing Jones and the other man.
Was it you?
It was not me. That was not me.
Okay.
I did not. I was simply following the story where it goes.
A man in the crowd.
A man in the crowd. He was asking about his MMA record and then started kind of yelling at each other, and Jones was like, okay, we're going to leave. So they left. The four of them left. Jones, the man, and the two young women left. They walked down the street, and they got into what appeared to be a Plymouth Scion, and they drove away.
All right.
So, in 2016, Phoenix Jones appeared in a series of Red Hook print ads.
Oh, he's gone commercial.
He has gone commercial, yeah. So he's
Red Hook.
Some money.
Okay, local.
Oh, incidentally, if you didn't follow the Man in Tree story, Cody Lee Miller did come down. He got some help. I don't know where he is now, but he did successfully come down from the tree. As soon as he got down, the police gave him some space. They didn't just rush him, and then he went and got some medical assistance.
Did he get his sandwich?
I'm sure that he has eaten many sandwiches since then.
Did he get that sandwich?
He did not get that sandwich.
Or those Newports.
Or those particular Newports, no.
All right. But we were able to resolve it through conventional policing methods.
Yeah. Well, they waited it out. He was up there for, I want to say 36 hours.
Yeah.
For a long time. He broke branches and made a little, like, bed nest kind of thing up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Martha Stewart. Mm-hmm. An arbor, sort of. So, yeah, that's interesting, because that raises the question of whether Phoenix Jones would have been able to help him sooner than the police, or whether it would have backfired, and we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know if that would have... and we don't know if the man had issues with Phoenix Jones in the past, if he would have been like, oh no, screw this guy.
Yeah, is this a friend?
Phoenix was also putting things on Twitter saying, like, call the SPD and tell them to let Phoenix help, which in itself is also...
Sort of a personal social media campaign.
Yeah, which, you know, the police are already involved in the situation, and maybe that's not something that's going to be helpful.
There might be ulterior motives here.
Yeah, of self-promotion and wanting to
look like
a
great comic book.
Yeah, this could be a great PR opportunity for me, which we don't really know. I mean, we can't speak necessarily to his motives, but his motives have been, I don't want to say inconsistent, but hard to read at times.
Because he follows his own code.
He does, yeah.
And you don't get to know what that code is.
And I totally, in coming into this story and in starting... Jake Laycock, my research assistant, did most of the research on this, and I have looked into some stuff. But when coming into the story originally, I was anticipating it being kind of a, you know, more poking fun at Phoenix Jones and what he's doing, and I've actually come around a little bit. I'm much more on his side than I was when I first started, from the little that I knew about him before this to everything that I learned in reading and seeing the news reports and seeing his social media and things like that. And definitely there's some things that are problematic, but he's doing something.
Yeah.
He's seeing stuff that needs to get done that he has a problem with, and he's following his instincts and following what he thinks is right, which I have a great deal of respect for, even if I can't agree with 100% with his methods and his results.
Yeah. I think as a city right now, Seattle is grappling with that very issue of direct action versus prescribed channels. In terms of how do you accomplish your goals politically, especially, and do you take matters into your own hands when the system is failing you? And I think that's a question that we are still attempting to resolve. Right,
because the system is failing a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
And if people do take actions into their own hands and they say, no, you got to go through prescribed channels, well, that's not addressing the needs that people have right now, which this is kind of a microcosm of the larger issues that are going on in Seattle right now.
Sure.
And there's no, perfect, clean, and easy way to address it.
No. But some people are doing stuff.
People are doing stuff. And he's one of the people that are doing stuff. He's doing more than I'm doing, so I'll tell you that.
But you are educating.
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands of listeners.
Yeah. On July 30th, 2016, Ben Fodor, a.k.a. Phoenix Jones, faced off against his foster brother, Carlos Fodor, at World Series of Fighting 32 in Everett, Washington, and he lost in a unanimous decision.
Ooh.
He currently, against his brother.
Against his foster brother.
That's some superhero
That is a
story
grudge
arc
match.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, and I was just, all I wanted to do my whole life was do this, and they made me fight my brother.
Their whole careers have been building up to this moment. Yeah, that's a hero's journey right there.
Yeah. He currently holds a professional MMA record of 6-2-1. 6 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. Very good.
Yeah. Not as good as his amateur record.
But nobody does as well in the pros as they do in amateur.
Yeah, I mean, you got to face your foster brother in the pros.
That's true, yeah. In the amateurs, you're fighting against other up-and-comers, but there they make you fight against family. As of this recording, Phoenix Jones continues to patrol the streets of Seattle.
All right.
So he's still out there. Still fighting the good fight.
On that shady strip of nightclubs in Belltown.
Still out there in Belltown.
Pepper spraying people.
Which, again, going to Belltown is more than I would do. So, good on you, Phoenix Jones. Keep fighting the good fight.
Some of us are with you, Phoenix Jones.
Yeah.
Not all, but some.
Not all, yeah. Well, if anytime anybody makes a bold stance on anything, they're going to draw a lot of criticism. And they're going to draw a lot of anger and ire. But, I mean, I understand why the police have their concerns about him, but he is going out there and he is actively looking for people that are facing bad situations and attempting to help them.
Yeah.
And that is a wonderful thing to do.
As a neighbor, as a citizen, or maybe as somebody in a costume with abs on it.
Mm-hmm. And I like to think that under that costume, those abs look the same.
I think we all like to think that, Chris.
Well, thank you for listening to the Seattle Files. Thank you so much, Daniel Stoltenberg, for being here. If you have a topic suggestion that you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook, subscribe and rate in iTunes. New episodes come out every Tuesday. If you are able to, please make a contribution on Patreon. It's patreon.com/the Seattle Files so that I can pay the research assistant and continue bringing you the show that I absolutely love doing. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Awesome.
All right.
That was great. 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 Awesome.